Hello, and welcome to the Mobile Library Experience presentation. I am your host, Richie Sandberg. Let's get started. So change was needed. Library staff wanted a better way to make library cards off-site. So a quick story, I was at a school district for a program that was sponsored by our youth services department one day, and we had a family come up to the table, and we were kind of just going over some of the library stuff, all the features that we offer, and we asked them, hey, do you have a library card? And in turn they said, no, we don't, but we'd like to sign up for one. We live in the area, we never even really knew what the library offered, so we said, okay. However, you can't really sign up right here. We can take your information down. And that's when I thought to myself, oh my goodness, there's got to be a certain way to do this that doesn't require us to write everything down, go back to the library, put it into the computer, into the ILS, because at that point, it's kind of inconvenient, and especially inconvenient for staff because there are other things that we could be doing. So what I did was I looked into our mobile ILS, which is our integrated library system, and I found out that you can actually download an application and you can start making library cards offsite for patrons, and you can do other services such as checking materials out. You can check stuff in. And at that point, I figured, well, okay, now we should implement this. We should absolutely do this for our library. And that goes with people are pretty mobile, so we should be too. So with that being said, patrons being able to use their phones and their tablets and being able to access the library's website, they were not being able to get a mobile view before. So offering a mobile site makes it a lot easier to access the library out of the building. And so with that said, change was needed. Change was definitely needed in the building. So with all the meetings and finding out from our vendors that, yeah, we have digital repositories such as, ebooks, audiobooks, music. We had magazines. We should be able to get the ball rolling and offer these services to our patrons. So that's where the meeting started, which was in the building. And so with that, in comes technology. So the library wound up purchasing 2 tablets per department. We installed a mobile ILS, which is our mobile circ application on there. And with that, we had some training that was involved, which will be discussed next. So about the mobile library experience. With that, there is the implementation that I'm going to discuss, the steps that are involved, the meeting that the department heads and the meetings that we had, the goals that we wanted to measure, the training, the timeline, and the data that was collected. And then we're going to discuss the results of that data that was collected, as well as an interpretation of that data. So let's begin this. These are the steps that made the mobile library experience possible. There was a department head meeting on Monday, September 19th. On Tuesday, September 20th, there was an IT staff training session, which, by the way, the IT staff learned exactly what the department heads learned. On Friday, September 23rd, the Staff Institute Training Day commenced. Library was closed the entire day, and staff learned how to use the mobile ILS application. On Friday, September 30th, staff were taught how to use the digital repositories. On Monday, October 3rd, the one-week trial experience began. Classes were held on Monday, October 3rd and Wednesday, October 5th. During this time, Youth Services did some outreach at school districts on the same night. On Monday, October 10th, the one-week trial experience concluded. Data was collected and results were presented at a Board of Directors meeting. The department head meeting. Department heads needed to learn the mobile ILS using the mobile circ application. Department heads had to become familiar with the e-vendors such as Overdrive, Zinio, One Click Digital, Freegal, EBSCOhost, and Gale Cengage. Each department head learned functions that pertain to their job, such as weeding, checking in materials, checking out materials, making new library cards, renewing library cards, and doing inventory searches through the mobile ILS. Next, we're going to discuss the goals. So these are the goals that the mobile library experience wanted to achieve. So we wanted to see how many library cards were being made and how many were being renewed using the mobile ILS. We also wanted to see how many checkouts and check-ins were being processed using, of course, statistics. Then we wanted to see how many patrons use the mobile website and databases, hits, searches, downloads, etc. Then we wanted to find out how many digital materials were being downloaded, such as ebooks, audiobooks, magazines, and music. And then lastly, we wanted to see how many patrons that staff can help while wandering the stacks over at the library. We wanted to kind of reach out to the patrons and meet them where they are and hopefully help them using the mobile tablets. All staff training. So Friday, September 23rd, all staff were trained using the mobile tablets. Staff were also trained how to use the mobile ILS, which was Mobile Circ. Staff learned how to check materials out, check in materials. They learned how to weed, do inventory searching and ILS searching, and how to make new library cards and renew library cards. Continuing on, Friday, September 30th, all staff were trained using digital repositories. So staff learned how to use Overdrive, One-Click Digital, Zinio, and Freegal, which were our e-vendors. Staff trained with databases, including Gale Cengage and EBSCOhost, which what the library uses for a lot of their databases, such as Consumer Reports and some other databases that we use that include statistics and sports and history and genealogy, all those stuff. All that stuff is included in the Gale, Cengage, and EBSCOhost, which is sponsored for libraries. Data collection. So Monday, October 10th, department heads compiled statistics and information. Data was collected from digital repositories including hits, searches, and downloads placed by patrons. Continuing on, class attendance was taken from Monday and Wednesday night classes. Since the outreach was performed those same nights at the schools, data from the new library cards were also taken. And then going along, circulation statistics were compiled, check-ins, check-outs, renewals were also compared to last year's year-to-date statistics. Results. So circulation statistics increased by 14% compared to last year's numbers. During the one-week trial period, 8,389 materials went out, as opposed to last year's 7,339. 32 library cards were created compared to last year's 18, a 78% increase. 41 library cards were renewed compared to last year's 37, an 11% increase, though check-ins did decrease by 4% compared to last year. So with adult services, Monday's class attendance was 33, and Wednesday's attendance was 24. There were 105 patrons that were helped while they were roaming the stacks. 498 items were downloaded digitally. 42 items were searched in the databases. And 102 books were weeded from the collection. Youth and Tech Services. So 6 library cards were made at the outreach programs at school districts, compared to 1 being made at the last program. 44 patrons were helped when librarians were roaming the stacks. 41 books were weeded, and 294 items were purchased. IT had 1,161 library site hits, which includes the mobile website. That's compared to last year's 938, which is a 24% increase. 14 patrons visited the IT staff at their help desk and got some help learning how to download ebooks, e-magazines, audiobooks, and music. So what does all this data really mean? Well, it's a success in our eyes because circulation checkout statistics actually increased compared to last year's same week time. Factors such as librarians walking the stacks might have been helpful with this. Check-in materials decreased, and we think maybe that's because a lot of materials didn't go out as much and come back, I guess. We're not really entirely sure, but we can conclude that having the mobile tablets to check in some of the materials on the fly probably didn't make a difference. Though there were more library cards being made, and we factor that into outreach, and that's a big success of this program, we think. And Stack Help, we can't really compare that to anything from last year because this is the first time we had librarians roaming the stacks in their departments, helping people on the fly and checking out materials to them where they are. Though mobile website traffic did increase website traffic by 24%, so to us that looks as though the mobile website did make a big difference. Well, this concludes the mobile library experience presentation. If there are any questions, please let me know. Thank you so much for your time. I hope you enjoyed it.